Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to What If Deku Was a Villain? Where we last left off on this video, and the last episode too, was Melissa Shield got captured. We also had it where the hero saved Bakugo, but now Bakugo has a robotic arm because Deku was there and cut off Bakugo's arm and personally fought in that battle. And also, the way they lost Melissa Shield was very good. If you want to find out how everything went down, go look at that video before watching this one, you idiot. But anyway, there is also a playlist above the screen. It should pop up. So if you did not see it in the last episode, go check it out. Go look at that playlist. It should be like on the top right. So yeah. But besides that, we also have it where All Might's mentor in the last episode was brought back, but as a cyborg under the control of Deku. But, and, well, before we even start this What If, we got a few things we gotta bring up. I'm changing Deku's name. Be called the Overlord because of this interesting and beautiful subscriber. Because the fact being how they explained why he should be called Overlord, and it made me think, yeah, Overlord sounds cool. So I agreed with him. So for now on, pretend in the other What If he just said, whenever I said the Mechanist, just put it as Overlord because. And also, it should be on screen right now anyway, of how he described it to me and why I think it sounds like a good idea. And also, make sure to comment down below any ideas for what ifs or suggestions for this one or other ones. That's all I gotta say, and let's get into the story. Where our story begins, we start with Melissa Shield, where she has been knocked out. So like when the time from the last video, she was knocked out. So her head feels foggy. She starts waking up and she's like, oh, what happened? Thinking it was probably a dream or something. Because, you wouldn't believe that happened at the place that is supposed to be so safe and secure that no villain could attack it. So, when she woke up, she was like, where am I? Like, Dad? Like calling her father. Asking, like, where is he? Calling for him, but he doesn't show. She doesn't even hear him. All she knows, she can't see things clearly right now. Because remember, Melissa Shield wears glasses, right? And yes, I know she also has contents, like, contact lenses of glasses. Because, how could she pull off that dress without glasses? How could she, like, walk around without glasses? No, she had contents in that point. That's what I believe, but I don't care. You could, however you believe she saw at that point of the movie, but whatever. So, Melissa Shield tries to move her hands to the back of her head because it just feels in pain back there. But she realizes she can't move. None of her body is, like, moving at all. Until she hears a familiar voice from those robots. But it's not metallic, it's not robotic at all. It's a person's voice that sounded similar to the machines. And she realizes she can still move her eyes, she can still move her mouth, she can still hear. All she can't do is move the lower half of her body. And she realizes she's being held up by two robots on both sides of her body, holding her by the arm, by both arms. And she's like freaking out. She's kind of scared, like she doesn't know what to do. She can't move. Her body's not responding at all until she sees him. Izuku Midoriya, or Deku. And she's like, you're the, and Deku practically responds with, I am the Overlord. And she screams in fear. She's like, please don't kill me. And Azuku's, or Deku, I got used to calling him Azuku because other what ifs. Deku practically says this. Don't be afraid. If I was going to kill you, I would have did it back on the island, wouldn't I? And she's like realizes, yeah, if you really wanted to kill her, he wouldn't have captured her. He wouldn't have brought her here. He would have killed her on the island or took whatever he needed from the island. So she asks him, why is she here? Izuku responds with, why are you here? Well, I know for a fact you were the daughter of one of the smartest people who make gear for heroes, or make gear in general, even robots. So, what would be a good benefit from that? And Militia is like, what are you going to do with me? And she also asks why she can't move. And Asuka says, well, there's a device on the back of your neck, disabling, or, disabling most of your signals that's coming from your brain. It's only disabling the signals of how you want to move, like your arms and legs, practically. Luckily, it's not disabling your heart or lungs, or your neck movement, because I don't want you to be constantly looking down. Besides, what are you going to do? I know for a fact you're quirkless, Militia Shield. I know that. But you and me have something in common. And Militia Shield's like, no we don't, you villain. And Deku's taken aback. He's like, oh, that hurts so much. But I'm being serious, Militia Shield. We're both quirkless. And she's like, there's no way. You can't be quirkless. You helped that villain who fought All Might. She said that in fear. And Deku says, I am telling the truth. I am quirkless, like you, but I was given a gift of power, not from the man who fought All Might, but from somebody else, entirely. And Militia Shield is terrified for the fact being it wasn't the dude in the weird mask, because that dude looked like he had multiple powers, but she didn't know that that dude can give powers. So Deku explains more into detail about All for One and One for All, and how All Might was one of the users, and what All Might told him. Well, Militia Shield doesn't know that he's Azuka Midoriya. All she knows that he's she knows that he's the Mechanist. But she's in shock that the number one hero would tell someone who's quirkless to give up on their dreams. And Militia Shield's heart is kind of broken from that, because remember, that's like family to her. Like, All Might is like family in a way, and that just broke her heart to find out that her, like, the person that she saw as family said that a quirkless person cannot be a hero, not even if they tried, like, to be other professions only. And that kind of broke her heart a little, because she really, really cared about All Might, and like at some point in her dream she wanted to probably be a hero, but then she really thought about it and wanted to help heroes that, don't get helped, because she knows that heroes in the inside don't get help, or people just see them as these godlike people that don't need help or therapy or anything. And this is when the Overlord explains more. He explains about his life, how when he was quirkless, People bullied him and told him to give up on his dreams or to kill himself, and that hurt Melissa Shield more, surprising her and everything. And she has experienced that before herself, but not as much as Zuko or Deku practically had. And this is when things gets more intense. So Deku practically tells her who he is, and he says, well, and he pulls off the mask from his face. I am a Zuko Midoriya, and this is Shield. I am the Overlord, but my power comes from someone else. Think about it. We can change this world that only views quirkless as nobodies, losers that cannot be heroes, not even if they tried. But the person who believed in me, and with your help, with the other person's help that I had, with me, we can change this world, change the societies, and have it where quirkless can have a chance to succeed where they could not. And Melissa Shield kind of disagrees with Deku because she doesn't see everything corrupt, but she's slowly. And this is when Deku hits her with, okay, explain, tell me, has there ever been quirkless heroes? And she realizes, no, there hasn't. Like, 0 quirkless heroes. The only place where there was is America. And that's it. Nowhere else has quirkless heroes. So, and he asks Melissa Shield, so, what about Island? Does it have quirkless heroes that are there? That show up or hang out or do whatever? So during this is what happens. Well, if you want to take it this way. This is just Shield, since Deku says, was there any quirkless heroes on the island? She says bluntly, yes. And Deku's in shock, surprised about that. And he's like, well, it makes sense for an American, at least. And there's just Shield's like, yes, I was in the States. So, I know that your country, where you're from, was different. But I haven't experienced that too well. Like, at all. Too much, at least. Yes, in America, we have some people that do view the quirkless as weak and pathetic. But not all of them. Not all of us do. And in the United States, it's much different. I think you could have become a hero, and a little bit of the real Zuko, well, a piece of him, kind of glows through villain Deku's eyes for a second. A little bit of green revealed, and Mrs. Shield saw this, and she's like, that's not normal. This feels like something else. This feels like this person has been corrupted. And she has that unnagging feeling. But she shakes it off for now. Because she's right now afraid. She doesn't know what Deku is going to do. So, this is what Deku does to her. So, he kind of gets angry. And he says, you don't know what it's like to be, like, practically looked down upon, to see as you worthless, to see as you like pieces of garbage that shouldn't be in front of people. I know what that's like. I'm surprised that you didn't feel that. And Mrs. Shield doesn't say anything. She says, I know your pain. And Deku stops for a minute, and he's like, what? And she's like, yes, I know your pain. I have dealt with bullies before who've seen me as useless. I know what it's like. But don't... You shouldn't have let them win. And Izuku's like, let them win? I haven't. I'm changing my society. Changing it so to allow the quirkless. And to bring down the false heroes like All Might and Endeavor. And Melissa Shield's confused when Deku says, like, All Might. But, like, a little bit. But she understands because she just remembers, oh, yeah, right, what he said to you. And Deku, and Melissa Shield and Deku at this point have, like, a very long conversation about, like, how and stuff. And he's trying to convince her, but it's not working. So, until Scorch shows up. He says, Izuku, or Deku, how is your convincing going? And Izuku's like, it's not working. This part of the power is not working. So Scorch responds with, did you forget? It doesn't work on people that have very, very strong senses of will. But you can use this to your advantage. And Deku's like, what do you mean? You can use the other part. This is what Scorch says. And he's like, what do you mean that part? And Deku says, why? Why that part? Why that part of the power that you gave me? And Scorch says, it's going to work if you do. And it will be more violent, yes. But it will get you what you need. Malicious Shield's assistance to corrupt and to fix your society for the better. So, Izuku complies. And Malicious Shield at this point, both robots put her like on like a chain type thing to hold her up. So, Izuku does two things. He sets up a camera, like kind of live on the air, and All Might sees this, and people from UA see this, and Deku gets to the camera with his mask on, and he says, hello, heroes. And it's only being progressed like to UA, and all the all the certain heroes schools that are important to this plot, at least. And he has it literally on UA, and the people who are at Island realize who's chained up. It's Malicious Shield, and it looks like she didn't even get the chance to change out of the what she was wearing at the party for that day on Island when the Mechanist attacked. And Deku says this, well, the UA students, I said Mechanist, and the Overlord has a very interesting thing, right, All Might? And All Might's in shock. He's like, no, and he's scared for Malicious Shield. And Nezu's seeing this, and he's intrigued, but he is also helping, trying to find where the signal is being located. So, they see him walk over to Malicious Shield. This person, who's quirkless like me, well, in some regards. And that's when Scorch gets on screen. Yes, Izuku. Well, he says Mechanist, but it on the camera it catches calling him Overlord, but when they're there, it he calls him by his actual name. So he says, Deku, you know what to do, and he nods his head. Yes, sir. And this is when he puts his hand over Malicious Shield's face, and everyone there just hears a scream, a painful scream. It sounds like she's in pain, and she's like, stop, stop, yelling the word stop over and over again. Once when he does finally stop, she like has both eyes open, and she looks like she's on the verge of passing out, until All Might and Nezu and everyone sees it. Like, and they move the camera closer, by the way, to her face, and they see like red blackish corruption going on her eye, on her left eye. It's been corrupted. It looks like it's not natural, like something natural for your eye to turn this color. It's mixed with red and black, and it's corrupting slowly over her eye until her left eye is fully red and black mixed together. And her blue eye is still normal, like on her right, still normal. And she's like, what is wrong with me? And people are noticing this, that she looks like she's literally fighting herself now. And she's like, you are a genius. No, he's a villain. She's fighting herself because her mind is being messed up. Logically, and sense of the word, her morals are being messed with. And she's just fighting herself at this point, until Izuku takes off the thing that stopped her body movement for moving, and they see when Deku holds the device in the camera, her body's like visibly shaking, and the chains that were holding her arms upward, and she looks like she's trying to break out or like fight herself, like literally like her legs are trying to like kick something, and it's like painful. Everyone in UA sees it, and like they're terrified, and she's screaming out, yelling All Might's name, like yelling like All Might, like All Might, save me please, like asking him to like get there, save her, because to her this is great pain. This is literally giving her pain. But let alone, no one knows this, but the people who also are watching is May and Ragdoll. And this is the funny thing. May's smiling about this, because remember, May has been corrupted for sure, and her mind is now twisted at this point. So, in her point of view, she doesn't see this as painful. No. She sees this as making a new friend. But there's a slight hint of yellow of her original eye color. Just a little very tiny one that is sparkling sorrow. Just a very small one. For Zuku, on the other hand, that little bit of green that is still there is also sparking the color of sorrow, and looking like he didn't want to do this to her, but in his mind he rationalized there was no other choice, So yeah. So what happens next? Zuku turns to the camera and says these words. Ka-chan, I wonder, who else will I bring to my side? Who else will I corrupt? Who else will I take away from your happiness? And everyone in Class 1A stares at Bakugo. But they also hear, same thing with you, Azumi Midoriya. I wonder, how are you going to feel losing more and more people that you care about? You could not find your brother. You lost him because he ran away from you. I wonder, why is that? And she starts sweating in fear, because she knows the truth. Bakugo and her know the truth, but they didn't tell anyone, because again, who's gonna believe them? Who's gonna believe them? You know. So what happens here is they just see Malicious Shield just struggling in pain, and Toshinori, he's 10 times more eager. Also, if you don't know who Toshinori is, he's All Might. But yes, All Might is 10 times more angry at this point, because he hurt somebody to All Might that was like family, and he wants to go save her. He wants to head over there once when they get where it is. But Nezu tells him, no, don't go yet. We don't know if it's a trap. Trying to be rationally. But All Might is like content. He doesn't want to wait. He wants to head over there immediately. But half of him is agreeing with Nezu. It's a better plan than to get captured from this villain who knows about like certain things now, because he made a deal, like he showed up to help All For One, which when their conversation, Deku and All For One, All Might didn't really hear it. All he heard was he allowed Deku to go try to kill Bakugo. So that's why, until before even All Might leaves, they see someone walk on screen. They see Mei with the same color eyes that have been corrupted the same way as Malicious Shields. It's covered. Her eyes are the same color. The only difference is there's those small little yellow dots in the eye to show the real Mei. Well, at least partially her, that is sane, that is still normal, that is still okay left from what happened. So what happens practically to Mei, like how they see her and everything, people are terrified because of what, well, the Overlord can do. And it's terrifying. It's really scary that he can control people like this. Well, that's what they think, at least. It's just, technically speaking, adding a new perspective to see things how Izuku does, if you want to count it that way. But anyway, after that, the heroes finally find the coordinates of where Melissa's shield is. And they just start, like All Might and a few other heroes that are important right now, start heading over there. When they find out that it was like this weird old warehouse around the junkyard, they slowly approach, except for All Might. He runs in, busts the door open, because he sees Malicious Shield as family. So when that happens, they look around and realize there's nothing here. There's nothing there at all. But they don't know that a few students that tried to save Mei last time, yeah, and tried to save Bakugo as well, don't realize. They didn't realize that they were there. There's some students who, I should say, you'll soon find out, but not right now. Let's continue with the pro hero's point of view. All Might is confused. He remembers he saw the room in recording, till he thinks about it for a second, and he punches down into the ground. The floor breaks, and he falls into another room, realizing that this place is much bigger than he thought. The other pro heroes who were about to go in and was just waiting for a second had to go in because All Might went through like that. So when they came with, they realized that the room, they saw that All Might punched the ground and stuff, and saw that this place is much bigger. They call for backup. Well, Eraserhead goes with All Might down to explore, because they don't know that Scorch and, Deku are, the same, sharing the same power. So they explored the old abandoned, practically building at this point. And they're exploring, they're trying to find stuff that can, signify that they're still here, until they hear a signature growl, an angry one. And they look up and they see the Nomu and the one from the USJ. Well, half of it at least. It's not fully there, but it starts attacking All Might. And All Might is fighting the thing. Since it's technically a human corpse, corrupted, All Might and Mr. Aizawa are not afraid to kill them. So they kill this Nomu and break off the robotic parts that were on it. Until they hear something. All Might hears a familiar voice yelling, asking for help to make it stop. And he hears Militia Shield's voice, begging, pleading for Deku to stop. But little does he know that that voice is not leading to who he thinks it's leading to. So when All Might rushes over there, Mr. Aizawa tries to tell All Might to stop, but he can't erase All Might's quirk, because if he does, that could be a bad move, because they don't know if there's any more booby traps at the surf layer, because they think, it's multiple layers, there's probably more. So they don't know. So he thinks it's not a good idea to erase All Might's quirk at this moment. Until something else happens. When All Might arrives to where it is, he just sees it's an area with a bunch of robots. It looks like 15 or 15 to 14 of them. Reason why there's some pretty far away, so it doesn't look like there's that many here, until he hears the voice again and rushes over. It's leading to another area of the place, until he gets sucker punched in the face, sending All Might flying backwards. Not far enough to make him break into a wall, but far enough to make him stumble for a little bit, until he looks up and sees that it's a bot making the noise, making Melissa Shields screams of pain and begging and asking him to save her, until all the other ones start doing it and they turn around. They all activate. They all look at All Might. And All Might is a little bit terrified, for the fact being that these machines can copy voices or use the voices. So All Might starts fighting them, and Mr. Aizawa finally arrives. Since the machines only analyze quirks, they know, Mr. Aizawa only, could only turn off quirks. He can't really, doesn't have really powerful quirk. So when they fight him, they only send 2. Until the machines realize that 2 of them just got defeated by Mr. Aizawa and his capture scarf. Decapitating one's head, because, he had to use a reinforced version since, he expected more machines are gonna be here. And, literally kicked off one's head, and they register that he has no quirk. Has no quirk that boosts his ability to fight. So the machines reanalyze target, and they send more, but they keep getting defeated by Mr. Aizawa. But All Might, on the other hand, his story is not similar. What's happening with All Might, he's actually struggling much more than Mr. Aizawa, because All Might fights more like a wrestler. He doesn't have real skills. He fights more like WWE fighters than using more actual techniques to defeat villains, because he's always been using overwhelming strength to win. He never uses his logical side, unlike Midoriya. So he's kind of losing, but he did destroy a few robots, and there's only, at this point, now just 2 of them. And the one that is making, both of them are, but whatever. One gets pulled by Mr. Aizawa's capture scarf, and the other starts running. It starts booking. It just goes. And this is when things happen. They chase the robot down. They're running after it until this happens. When they're chasing it, it pushes a button and releases something that should not have been made. Something disgusting, nasty even. They look like they should be dead, but they're not. They're not dead. They look like they're the Walking Dead. But they notice that these are villains that went missing or didn't get captured, but like they didn't know where they went. They thought they went overseas. But it turns out now Zuko captured them and experimented on them. Because remember, Zuko is messed up, but he only at this point experimented on villains. So, you know what that means. Kind of zombies and such. So, they're fighting these undead looking things, and believe me, these things have their quirks boosted. So they're actually doing damage to All Might. Like, not really like, burning him to this bone or ripping his arms off, but like enough damage where it's gonna leave scars. You're gonna notice that the symbol piece was hurt at some point. So All Might is blocking the blows, and he punches one and it just splatters. It dies. And All Might's in shock about this because that wasn't even a strong punch. That was like pretty weak. Like that was more like freaking 20% were the air blast. But anyway, because he wasn't really punching like directly at one. He was gonna use the air pressure to push the others over, or whatever. But no, they just splattered and died. So All Might has to reconsider and try to use a weaker dose of One for All. So what happens here is when they're fighting and stuff, this is when we come back to the students. The students are there, but they have sent a little drone down there. Not to fight, like not really to do anything, but like just in case they are needed this time around, because they want to find out stuff. And these are different students because we can't have the same people since they were technically broke the law. So they are the people who freed Bakugo and try to help him out from Island. They were kind of on watch a little because they know last time they tried to save someone, so like how they did, and that was pretty bad. That was illegal in the My Hero Academia universe for some reason, but yeah. And so they're keeping their eyes out on these group of individuals, and if you don't remember who was it, well, go check out that video. I ain't gonna say it again. So this is when things change. Things are changing. So they're looking around and seeing how the pro heroes are like dealing with these things, and the people who were there, who were watching, helping the others who want to help free Melissa's shield, but they can't because they're being watched. They're disgusted. They're kind of grossed out, but they also notice these were villains. They notice that the Overlord has been messing with DNA at this point. He has been tinkering with things. So let's cut back to the pro heroes. So what we see after they defeated the weird kind of zombie-like things, and they don't know what to call them, but not a lot of them did not die. After All Might's punch, they had to use weaker attempts to subdue them, because if they didn't, they would accidentally kill them. And they seem sane, like they still can talk, but they sound like they don't want to fight at all. They sound in pain. They sound in misery for their every breathing breath. They wanted All Might or the pro heroes to kill them. They didn't want to live anymore. This was pain to them. Deku did this on purpose because he found these villains were no longer used to him at all. So he did what anyone else would do and silenced them so they would not tell what he was truly doing. So this is when we cut to Deku with a half-corrupted malicious shield. And he's laughing. He's like, so funny. And even Mei Hasame is watching, and she doesn't really care, to be honest, but she just likes seeing all my struggle. And she doesn't really like it when Eraserhead gets hurt, because to her, Eraserhead didn't really do anything bad. So, you know, if you don't know anybody, it's no point of hating them, even if they're a hero. But, oh well. So Deku is just laughing his head off at this situation until he hears a conversation in the next room. And then he tells them, I will be back. And Malicious Shield's left, like, no wait, right, I'm sorry, I said the wrong eye. Right eye is crying, but the left is just open, watching. Like, right now at this point, her lower half of her body and the left side of her face is corrupted. Like, those parts are now seeing Deku how he is, like his true self, like being like him in some ways. But the only side that's like her actual true self that is not being corrupted is that the right side of her face, practically, the side that's crying, unable to control her mouth or anything. So yeah, she's pretty corrupted until Deku leaves and she's just standing there. She's like, the left side's like, I need to move. I need to get out of here. Like, you know, trying to figure out a way to go, but she can't because her body is not listening to her until she hears the other side of her, the side that's corrupted, the side that's in control. And it says this, it says, what's the point? All Might is not going to save you. He's going to fail. Yeah, symbol of peace. My ass. He's not even a true hero. Think about it. He was quirkless like us. My gosh. And you still look at him as family? Really? What's the point? He could have gave you his quirk, but no, he gave it to someone else with a powerful quirk. And Mr. Shield, the real self at least, is like, that's not true. That's not true. He would, but I think he knew that I wanted to, and the other side just stops her from speaking and says, no, you know for a fact you wanted to be a hero at some point, but you were shot down. You were refused. People didn't like you. Am I wrong myself? And the side that ain't corrupted is like, well, you're right, but and it's like still crying because the other side is rude to it. It doesn't, they don't like each other. But the real Melissa Shield doesn't know what to do. Doesn't know how to do anything about this. All she can do is just watch and cry. On that side of her face, at least. The reason why May's not crying or anything, well, she was kind of willing to work with Deku, and she got corrupted, yes, but in a good way. She didn't feel pain. She doesn't hate Deku at all, and she more or less likely agrees with Deku that everything needs to change because, you know, she's seeing his point of view. She understands. She knows how it feels to be an outcast, someone who, you know, is hated by people. And yes, even though May is smart, like, I'm pretty sure people also hate people with useless quirk, but they hate quirkless people more. So that's why. And she didn't really, probably, and I don't know if this is canon or not, but and only in this story it is, but like in the actual show, I don't know, that she didn't have any friends. That's the only reason why she doesn't fight against it. Doesn't fight against Izuku and actually agrees with him. So, back to Izuku's point of view. So when he's walking down the halls, he's hearing a conversation with Scorch and someone else. He peeks around the corner and sees someone, and someone wearing white and black armor. This person doesn't look familiar to Izuku at all, until he hears what they're talking about. Scorch is like, okay, fine, whatever. I don't know K.infinite. I don't know what to do at this point. I'm just following what you asked me to do. K.infinite responds with, good. I kinda want to always see outcomes. And for once, I wanted to see what you would do, Scorch. Even though you are a K that is bound to me and my controls. You're lucky that I'm letting you do this at all. But I'm curious, Scorch. What is your plan? What is the point? What are you trying to do? And Scorch explains this to K.infinite. He says, I agree. I want to change this society. Even though I'm a villain. I don't like it when, well, any version of Izuku is being suffered. And I actually believe in Izuku. I believe he can do what I failed a long time ago. What I think he could succeed. Even though I'm not from this world, I still believe he will be able to change his world where I have failed in my own. K.infinite responds with, very well. But remember, if you ever need the others for help, or my own for help for certain things, don't be afraid of asking. Alright, Scorch? Even though I have my own, I don't care really. I only care when it intrigues me. But sometimes I have my own goals. You know this, right? And Scorch is like, yeah, K.infinite. Fair enough, boss. But, I should head back to my person I have been helping. Alright, Scorch. But I don't think you need to. And Scorch is taken aback by this. He's like, what do you mean? And K.infinite's like, well, he's right there. And he turns around and sees Izuku, wide-eyed, and staring at Scorch with the person he doesn't know. Who, like, all he knows now is his name's K.infinite, and that's it. So, Scorch is like, I gotta explain this to him. And K.infinite's like, you don't technically have to. Remember, I'm just giving you inspiration. And Scorch flips off K.infinite and go like, go screw yourself. And K.infinite is like, fine. Whatever. I'm just pointing out a fact. Are you afraid of me, Scorch? And Scorch is like, no, I am not. And K.infinite's like, alright. But you're still going to have to explain it in some way, or not. I don't really care. Because this Izuku is, well, important to you, but not really important to me. He's yours, and I have my own, to do whatever I need. So, it does not matter to me right now. But, anyway, have fun explaining. And there's a portal behind K.infinite, and he leaves. Scorch tells Izuku, come in and lock the door. And Izuku comes and locks the door. And he explains what K.infinite is. He tells Izuku that K.infinite is not a god. He is much more than gods. He controls gods. He can control any of them if he really wanted to. But he let him, well, Scourge himself, allowed to mess around in this universe. So that's why they met. Without K.infinite, Deku would not become what he is. And Izuku is like, so I should thank him. And Scorch is like, well, he already knows that you're thanking him. And Deku's confused again, but Scorch explains that, well, he's connected to K.infinite through the soul, and any other K, which Scorch explains that he's a K, is connected to K.infinite. And he can use all their powers no matter what. But he doesn't, because he has only 3 forms. So he just practically explains that. So then we cut back to him leaving the room and heading back. And this is where we're gonna end the video. So did you like what I'm doing here? I know, you made it to the end and you think I'm gonna say some stuff, which I am. So, again, if you actually like the video, comment down below. I probably will actually see it, and I will respond to you, which, no joke, no scam, that will actually happen. I will talk to you through the text. And remember, folks, I got a Discord, so if you wanna, join it, you wanna chat with me personally, or have funny haha memes, and maybe I'll do some stuff in the future, go to it. Go be a part of the Discord so we can talk, so you can give me a what if ideas or ideas in general of things you think I should do. Nothing too bad. But anyway, besides that, what else should I say? I know at some point I talked about releasing videos and stuff. But yes, I am going to do a stop motion for real. I know I haven't, I know last videos I said it, but I didn't do it yet. It's because I was kind of distracted. I was doing, these and such. So I am going to probably take a little break. Not too long, don't worry, the what ifs are still going to continue. It's just, if you don't see any usually posts on the days where they usually do, it's probably because I am working on the stop motion, and stop motion takes time. That's pretty much it. So letting you know that. But also, if you see on screen either box, I don't really care, there's a video where it's titled, what if Deku's mentor was, K.infinite, which that will continue the story of how K.infinite got here in this what if, and explain why Scorch knows him more. If you really want that, at least you have to go to that video, or come to this one, or see the playlist from this one, which I said at the beginning. That's all I gotta say, and pretty much peace. That's really it, and have a good day.